The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. Junkanoo say they support the National Junkanoo Authority bill, but many question the future of the JCNP. Meanwhile, that group is set to meet with the government on August 30th. And F&M leader Michael Pintard says the government isn't making a difference on crime. We're set to speak to the leader of the F&M this morning. And this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day, and of the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way? Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, DeQuesta Dean will be joining us. That's all ahead, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, police are questioning two men in connection with a double murder on Saturday that left 5 other men fighting for their lives in hospital. Confirming this yesterday, saying that with the shooting on East Street in Sunlight Cottage, they also have a person in custody for that incident, and they can say they believe they've recovered the vehicles that were used in the weekend shootings. Members of the Urban Renewal Police and Bahamas Christian Council held a walkabout in parts of Engliston to speak with residents. Engliston MP Glennis Hannah Martin says the community must cooperate and collaborate with law enforcement in order to tackle crime. Meanwhile, following it left 2 people dead and those 5 injured, F&M leader Michael Pintard says the government is not doing enough to combat violent crime in the country. He said that it remains a critical issue for the country, requiring continued attention and a comprehensive plan. Pintard says the Prime Minister should call in people who are playing a substantial role in orchestrating the violence within certain communities to, quote, have a conversation about squashing the beef and interrupting the violence. With the PLP yet to ratify any candidates for the next general election, due in a year, Prime Minister Philip Davis says that the party will soon make its elections. Davis, saying in a recent interview with ZNS, said the candidates committee has been formed and in due course will be sitting down and start looking at candidates. General election held in September 2021, many months before it became deeply unpopular during the COVID pandemic and its resulting restrictions. At the government's first public consultation for the National Junkanoo Authority and the bill, Junkanoos widely stood in support of the bill, but questioned the future of the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence, the JCNP, calling for officials to provide clarity on the role the corporation would play if the bill is enacted. The National Junkanoo Authority of the Bahamas bill seeks to introduce a dedicated body to oversee the organization, promotion, and development of Junkanoo across the country. It's been met with some backlash from the JCNP, which has managed parades in New Providence for 2 decades. On Monday's consultation session at the Goldwyn Resort on Cape, the Junkanoo community called the new bill a step in the right direction, expressing hope that it could address long-standing concerns, including financial constraints. Meanwhile, Director of Communications of Trey Ramming says the JCNP will meet with the government later this month. A 37-year-old New Providence man who was accused of raping a woman at her mother's birthday party was unanimously acquitted Monday. Bertram Frazier looked back at his mother and smiled after the 9-member jury delivered their verdict following an hour of deliberations. Frazier exercised his constitutional right to remain silent at his trial before Justice Renee McKay. However, he told the police that the woman, quote, begged him to have sex with her. He alleged that she made up the rape complaint to save face after her mother caught them in the back seat of his Kia, which is parked about 46 feet away from their home. The charges stem from an incident on January 21st, 2024. Frazier, a family friend, was attending the 39th birthday celebration of the complainant's mother. Frazier said it's apprehended 50 people between August 1st and 8th who breached the Immigration Act. The department said 27 Haitians, 2 Jamaicans, and 1 Colombian were apprehended for overstaying and illegal landing. It also noted that 21 people were charged and convicted in court for immigration-related offenses. The department also noted that 25 Haitian nationals were deported between August 1st and 8th. Overseas, U.S. President Donald Trump extending a trade truce with China for another 90 days, at least delaying once again any dangerous shutdown between the world's 2 biggest economies. Trump posted on his Twitter that he signed the executive order for the extension and that all other elements of the agreement will remain the same. Beijing, at the same time, also announcing the extension of the tariff pause. The previous deadline was set to expire at 12. Had that happened, the U.S. could have ratcheted up taxes on Chinese imports from an already high 30%, and Beijing could have responded by raising retaliatory levies on U.S. exports to China. The pause buys time for the 2 countries to work out some of their differences, perhaps clearing the way for a summit later this year between Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. It's been welcomed by the U.S. companies doing business in China. And European Union leaders appealing today to President Trump to defend their security interests at a key summit with his Russia later this week over the war in Ukraine. Putin appeared to be on the verge of making a key territorial grab ahead of Friday's summit, potentially to use it as leverage in any peace negotiations. The Europeans are desperate to exert some influence over the meeting, from which they have. It remains unclear whether even Ukraine will take part. Trump has said that he wants to see whether Putin is serious about ending the war now in its 4th year. Trump has disappointed U.S. allies, though, in Europe by saying that Ukraine will have to give up some Russian-held territory. He also said Russia must accept land swaps, although it might be expected to surrender. And environmentalists and indigenous leaders holding signs today in front of the United Nations building in Geneva, where talks for a global accord to end plastic pollution are taking place. They're asking nations to show courage and agree to a strong treaty. Most were from organizations that are part of the Break Free from Plastic movement. They said they wanted their voices to be heard as the talks wind down in Switzerland. Nations are crafting the first global, legally binding treaty on plastics pollution. representative from New Zealand who was representing the Plastic Pollution Alliance there, saying, quote, "We've invested a lot into coming all the way to Geneva, away from our communities, away from our families, because we understand just how important an issue this is and how crucial a moment this is. It's a once-in-a-lifetime plastics treaty." Well, they're urging delegates to vote on the treaty. If consensus can't be reached and the process becomes paralyzed, every nation must agree for any proposal of the treaty. The talks are scheduled to conclude Thursday. And the United States and China clashing over the Panama Canal at the United Nations Monday, with the U.S. warning that Beijing's influence over the key waterway could threaten global, and China calling U.S. accusations a pretext to take over the canal. The clash took place at a UN Security Council meeting where Panama's president, Jorge Raul Mulino, stressed the neutrality of the canal and his country's ownership of the waterway linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Panama holds the Council's presidency this month, and Molina was chairing a meeting on challenges to marine and maritime security. Interpol Secretary General Valdesi Urquiza telling members that these include piracy, armed robbery, transnational crime, and cyber criminals weaponizing attack ports where there is minimal cybersecurity maximum exposure. U.S. President Trump thrust Panama into the spotlight even before winning election last November by suggesting that his country should consider retaking control of the Panama Canal and accusing Panama of ceding influence to China. Time for Bumps' mixed 4x100 meter relay team, the free relay team of Marvin Johnson, Lamar Taylor, Zoe Williamson, and Elsie Wood. In that order, swimming another national record of the 2025 Junior Pan American Games in Paraguay, coming away with a finish in the final Monday. So far in swimming, the Bahamas has collected 2 national records in 2 relay finals at the Olympic Aquatic Center there, finishing 6th in both times. The men's 4x100 meter free relay team of Taylor, Emmanuel, Nigel Forbes, and Johnson clocked 3:24.86 to destroy the national record of 3:27.33 swimming in the heats. Prior to that, the national record stood at 3:28.22 from the 2019 Pan Am Games in Lima, Peru. Relay team swam 3:38.42 to win their heat and qualify for the final third overall, and then improve their national record-setting time to 3:37.23 for 6th in the final. And a quartet of Bahamian surfers looking to represent the country at the 2025 International Surfing Association's World Surfing Games, slated for September 5th through 14th in El Salvador. The Bahamas will be represented by Abaconians Joey Gale, Christopher Albury, and Luke Prosa, and Lily Wagner, who's from New Providence. The surfers will, with the exception of Wagner, all competed at the 2024 ISA World Surfing Games in Puerto Rico. And we told you about this yesterday's breaking news about the loss of Stephen Gardner's father about a week after competing at home at the Nationals and about a week before traveling to the area regional championships. Bahamian former world and Olympic champion Stephen Gardner Jr. tragedy with the loss of his father, Stephen. According to a police report, officers responded to a collision involving 2 vehicles on S.E. Boodle Highway in central Abaco shortly before 11:15 p.m. on Sunday. It was said that one of the vehicles was traveling in an easterly direction when it collided with a metal utility pole directly in front of the Treasure Key International Airport. 2 men were trapped inside the vehicle and appeared unresponsive. Condolences again to Stephen Gardner Jr. and to the entire Gardner family. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got moderate to fresh breezes and warm temperatures associated with high pressure. It's going to dominate weather features across the country for the next few days. Meanwhile, a mid to upper level disturbance expected to enhance isolated shower activity across the central and portions of the northwest Bahamas today. High pressure will continue to dominate weather, though, for the remainder of the week. But daytime heating combined with low-level moisture will trigger occasional passing showers and some isolated thunderstorms, particularly in the afternoons. Mariners and beachgoers along Atlantic exposures and open passages are advised to remain alert for swells as the weekend approaches, as a tropical storm Erin forecast to pass east of the Bahamas. We'll have more on Erin in a bit. But for today, we're expecting another hot day with high heat and UV indices, and there's a moderate risk of rip currents along east and south coast beaches, especially southeast Bahamas. Your forecast for today for the extreme northern islands, partly sunny, becoming fair tonight, a 10 to 20% chance of showers or possible afternoon thunderstorms, winds southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots. For the northwest and central Bahamas, a mix of sun and clouds today, becoming mostly fair tonight, a 20 to 30% chance of isolated showers with possible afternoon thunderstorms, winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. And for the southeast Bahamas, partly to mostly sunny today, becoming fair tonight, a 10 to 20% chance of isolated showers or possible afternoon thunderstorms. Winds to east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots. Temperatures at hot day in store, highs around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index, again in the triple digits, will make you feel like it's 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 78, 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. That's your for this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics. More on Erin in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
As a healthcare professional, you dedicate your life to caring for others. But even with the best care, legal challenges can arise. Check this and your peace of mind with medical malpractice insurance from Star General. At Star General, we've partnered with Lloyd's of London to bring you comprehensive professional liability insurance designed specifically for those consulting or practicing privately. Visit our website today so you can focus on what you do best for your patients while we take care of the rest. Star General, insurance made simple.
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it, just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations locations, there's a Custom Computers near you, Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Who's the real MVP of the soil, the hero of the harvest? The Agrarian Awards 2025 is here, and we want you to nominate the farmer who's growing greatness in your community. 8 categories up for grabs and a chance to win up to $50 prizes. Brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources and the Agricultural Development Organization, honoring the hands that feed the nation. Visit adobahamas.org to submit your nomination for the Agrarian Awards 2025.
When it comes to hearts at Cleveland Clinic, you can't miss a beat. You seek the best care possible, work with the brightest minds, and leave no stone unturned to get to the heart of the matter. Because understanding is always the first step to overcoming. For every heart in the world, see how we're at vet care at Cleveland Clinic today.
Things may be tough, but Wendy's got you covered. Grab a day single or chicken sandwich with a junior fries and 16-ounce beverage for just $6.95. Why choose less from the other guys when you can get more? At Wendy's, we're providing bigger bites and better deals. So purchase your Tings Tough Value Meal today. Now available at all locations excluding the airport and food truck.
Get ready to catch the thrill and win with Shell. Fuel up with $20 or more and unlock your shot at unforgettable prizes.
We're talking regatta trips to Exuma and Harbor Island.
Free fuel, grocery vouchers, water park passes, and more. Just snap your receipt and WhatsApp it to us at 242-422-0271. The vibes are high, the prizes are hot, and the summer is yours to win with Shell. Only at participating Shell stations in Nassau. Now through August 22nd.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic Eckert Battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, on GuardianTalkRadio.com, and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Duquesa Dean. Duquesa Dean, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas.
Should I call you Duquesa Dean or should I call you Grammy? What's this?
Nana,
sorry, yes. She already told me that. Sorry.
It is Nana, please.
Congratulations, by the way. New grandmother, Nana Duquesa Dean.
Just call me Nana.
How does it feel?
I'm loving it. You know, this is my second
Okay.
Nana love.
Okay.
But this one is a boy. My
Your
first
first
is a
boy.
girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so we are 6 days into a newborn baby boy. So I'm super excited
Yeah.
about his future, and I'm loving it.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff.
Thank you
Congratulations
so much
again.
for your blessing.
Congratulations again. All right, so that's some good news there. Coming up this morning, we are going to be talking politics and what's going on in the country. We're scheduled to have F&M leader Michael Pintard with us this morning, and so we've got a lot to talk with him about. That's all ahead, but there is a lot going on elsewhere in the news. And in the news, so this is expected to happen today. The police force issuing a notice that someone's going to be charged in connection with that case. You remember we told you about this a few weeks back, the abuse from one parent about what was happening to the students in the Ranger program with the Royal Bombs Defense Force. And so the police force says that a 26-year-old Defense Force Marine will be charged today in connection with the alleged abuse at the Rangers camp in Eleuthera. And you remember all the horrible things we heard from the mother of one of the students, kids being made to drink toilet water and the other horrible things that were done, and some of it seeming like sexual assault even. But we'll see. So he's expected to be charged on 7 counts of cruelty to children and 2 counts of indecent assault.
Oh,
so that's going to be interesting to see today.
Wow.
My goodness. Yeah.
Wow. How did we get here?
Well, again, we have some unusual, some of what discipline is all about, and what's supposed to make you tough for an adult or whatever. And it's a fine line between corporal punishment and abuse.
Agreed.
And some people really go overboard. What people say, often you'll hear it. I'd say the majority of behaviors say, this one just needs a good cut, whatever.
Right.
And they'll be on the right path. That, the right path to destruction often. Maybe not always, but often. Often. And the people who say, I got them a lot as a kid and I'm fine now. Bet you you're not really. Bet you you're not really. But equally,
I think it's a step in the right direction to start persecuting these sorts of tragic things. Children are going to be scarred for life.
Maybe, yeah. Well, especially, I'm sure drinking toilet water. No, not a good thing. But will we learn? Because it's not the first time. It's not the first time that somebody's had to and accusations of abuse, but yet it continues, right?
Yeah, it has to be a continuous persecution, and parents have to come forward. And I mean, some parents fit the bill as well, right, for that sort of abuse. The more people come forward and talk about these sorts of challenges, then, we can consistently persecute.
All right. I think you're trying to say prosecute. Because persecute, because some would want, you want that one? Okay, sure. I think that's why we have the problems. But anyway, sure. So this is interesting. 2 text messages coming at the same time saying this. I'm kind of surprised at this. Why was a 26-year-old given a responsibility for overseeing young people? Why not seasoned veterans? Unbelievable. Another text. Why the heck is a 26-year-old in charge of the youth? That's ridiculous. Really?
I mean, was he really in charge, or was it just his shift?
I don't get it. What's the issue? Now, you see, is this because that's somebody who'd be more relatable to the young people? No, there are a lot of this is the thing, because I was just talking to somebody about how today and 26 when I was 26 seem to be worlds apart. Right? It would not have. This wouldn't even be no one would even text something like that. But apparently things have changed. If they were 19, maybe. But really, do you think that's too young? If that was in major positions of authority at 26.
Yeah, I think 26 is okay. I mean, he's obviously authorized to do it. He has a position of authority to be able to do it. So they found him over in that capacity. And perhaps, in his mind, what some of the things he did were normal. Like you say, some of us are still dealing with things that we have gone through, and maybe it was, it's just normal for him. And that's why he acted that way. And then sometimes people just abuse authority. So, I mean, in one way, I could understand that 26 is young, but on the flip side of that, I also recognize that he has been selected to serve. He's been given a position. He's been given a salary, and I'm sure that he wasn't the only person there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So again, we'll learn more today if he's charged. But yeah, this is not an issue of his age. This is the character. This is the person. I'm sure they've had even younger people who would be surprised. And at this age, who knows? You could have been in the force, almost 10 years, right? If 18, right? I think it's 18. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's the issue. That's not the issue at all. And let's not paint everybody with the same brush. As you said, I'm sure there still are quite a few very, very mature 20, 26-year-old, 21-year-olds even, I'm sure. But, yeah, I don't think that's fair at all. This person says here, that's still a baby. Really? My 25-year-old cousin is still playing video games. So, as I said, it's about the individual. That's not going to be a standard 25-year-old thing. Oh well. Okay. Anyway, the other big story, the Junkanoo Authority bill. They had the first public consultation yesterday, and quite a few people, it seems, the official members of the JCNP. There were people there who were part of the JCNP, but in an official capacity, not exactly. More on that in a bit. But for those who did attend this consultation process yesterday, it appears that there's overwhelming support for the National Junkanoo Authority bill. Take a listen to this report from our Vonnie Toot.
Amid controversy over the proposed Junkanoo Authority bill, members of Junkanoo groups based in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family Islands gathered at the Goldwyn on Monday for a public consultation meeting, which gave them an opportunity to ask questions and have them answered. 66-year-old Denzel Roll, who has participated in Junkanoo since age 14, says he supports the bill, which he believes will help to advance Junkanoo. However, he voiced a concern shared by many.
I think one of the main concerns in public domain is the rules by the various persons in the authority. For example, it's not clear what role the JCNP will play. It is not clear what role the NJC will play. Currently, the JCNP has been put together to manage the Nassau parades. I'm a part of the JCNP still, but to me it's not clear what role they're going to play as a part of the authority. And I'm sure that the NJC can say the same.
With the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence and the Free National Movement expressing concern over the powers of the government and the JCNP's role, Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture Mario Bolek sought to address those concerns.
There has also been a strong question about the role of the Junkanoo corporations and associations across the islands. We want to assure you that you are all valued contributors to this community. The draft bill creates a national body that can, including the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence, the Grand Bahama Junkanoo Corporation, and all Family Islands associations. The authority can negotiate agreements that delegates defined functions and can enter commercial agreements that make sense for the public and the practitioners. That means the experience built over the years in New Providence, Grand Bahama and the Family Islands can continue to serve the public within the national standard that treats all islands fairly.
He also explained how Family Island Junkanoo groups will fit into the equation.
The proposed model includes board seats that reflects the whole country and creates local committees for island districts. These committees can plan and manage events, make recommendations to the national body, and receive training and support. This is meant to give the Family Islands a meaningful voice and the practical tools, not a symbolic seat.
Bolek also explained the economic benefits of the proposed piece of legislation and insisted it is not about changing the soul of Junkanoo.
Funding is another concern many of you have asked about, prize money grants and fairness. The bill allows for a National Junkanoo Authority fund. Revenues from official activities can be paid into this fund. Budgets can be approved and audited. Prize payments, grants, and seed funding can be scheduled and published. The aim is a clear money trail and predictable timelines for groups that need to budget and plan. Transparency is the point because transparency builds trust. We know sponsorship and vending matter to groups and to small businesses. Under the proposed framework, sponsorship and vending can continue within a clear policy that sets and open doors to partners across the country.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Vonique Toot.
Okay. So let's get your reaction to that, folks. What do you make of that so far? We'll get to what the JCNP is saying in a moment, but let's hear from you. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. I wasn't paying attention to this yesterday, I have to admit that. But was it cleared up? I mean, I heard the minister, he repeated that there are concerns that people have about what role the JCNP will play. Did he say what the role will play? Or just okay, he's like, yeah, we know there are concerns, and that's it? Or did he go into, well, they don't need to be afraid?
I didn't hear clarification.
Interesting. Okay, so here is...
I thought originally when they came out with this, they said that they wouldn't replace, if I'm not incorrect, it wouldn't replace the role of the JCNC, the Junkanoo Committee.
Well, yeah, they kind of sort of said that. I mean, but, nobody trusts the government, apparently. So they could say that. But they're saying they still want it to be more clearly defined what will be the difference between the authority and the various corporations. And so that is one of the issues. All right, so there's another story in the Nassau Guardian today about this. So the JCNP to meet with government on August 30th. Our Caitlin Babb writing about it, saying, following the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence's absence at the government's first public consultation for the National Junkanoo Authority, Chief of Communications, Latrey Ramming, said the government and the corporation will meet later this month. Ramming saying in a statement yesterday, quote, the government has been advised by the JCNP that they and their member groups were unable to attend this morning's consultation, respects their position, which is what, and understands the realities of preparing for such important discussions. Okay. As part of, this has been a few weeks now. As part of this process, the government has also met with some of the major title sponsors to educate them on the contents and objectives of the bill. Their role in supporting Junkanoo is critical, and ensuring they have a full understanding of the legislation is an important step in building shared commitment to the success. Stressing that the consultation process is ongoing, Ramming stated that the JCNP on August 30th to discuss recommendations to the authority bill. He said, quote, that meeting, like all others in this process, will be open to the public, televised, streamed online, and accessible virtually to ensure the widest possible participation. The government will see in the open the questions the JCNP wishes to put to the government. This openness will bring clarity, strengthen public understanding, and demonstrate the transparency with which the government is conducting this process. Yeah, so the JCNP, which has management of the parades in New Providence for the last 20 years, has been vocal against the bill, sharing concerns about the cultural parades falling under the control of the government. In July, the corporation outright denied the bill, and suspended all Junkanoo-related activities, including rush-outs, parades, and practices in protest. Despite that pushback, though, Ramming said the government views the JCMP as an important partner in the ongoing draft and said the planned session will provide the space for questions and concerns from the JCMP to be addressed directly and transparently. He said, quote, the shared goal is to strengthen and protect the future of Junkanoo, and the government remains committed to working with every stakeholder to achieve that aim. Ended thanks to Junkanoo groups and members who traveled to New Providence to attend that first public consultation yesterday and provide feedback on the bill. Okay. So there were some folks there. You heard a little bit in that report who gave their views. Grand Bahama-based Swingers Junkanoo Group leader Michael Miller said he feels Junkanoo Authority bill will help address some of the issues faced by Grand Bahama. And he said, quote, it's exciting to hear everything that has been said. Grand Bahama has a lot of challenges when it comes down to Junkanoo itself. We put up a pretty good parade, but we could use some help. I think the authority can help. Is there going to be a lot of talk, but is there going to be action?
That's a big concern.
Yeah. Okay. So, again, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Got a few of your text messages. This person says here, I think the people that support this Junkanoo are looking for the government to make them more competitive, and it's not cool.
I don't understand.
No, me neither. You need to break it down a little more. I suspect, I think I know where you're going, but what are you really trying to say? You think... Yeah, what do you really... This person says here, the JCMP represents the largest body of Junkanoos, meaning each group has to consult their membership, and that itself takes time. When the leader of the JCMP speaks on the general consensus, it is of the general body. He cannot speak outside of that. The government is aware that short notice was not a good friend of the JCMP based on its makeup. All groups could have sent somebody, and that person related to the leader of the group.
Wasn't it really short notice, though? When was the notice set out that they would have the meeting on a Monday morning, first day of the week, first business day?
I think it was a couple days. I think it was a few days. Yeah. But all the groups could have sent somebody who could have reported back to the head of the groups, who could have reported back to the head of the JCNB. All this.
Heads.
Yeah.
Okay.
This person says here, imagine if the government handled all its business like how they are doing so energetically going through this Junkanoo Authority bill. The energy behind this is so over the top compared to other issues we have in the country. Are you sure? I don't know if that's fair to say.
Sure.
It's getting a lot of media attention, but I think other things.
I think they have gusto when they do other things too. It's just after they pass the bills what happens.
So at least they're having a public consultation process. Other things.
I mean, that's still no good, consolation that they having a public dialogue about it, because history has proven that they're still going to do what they want to do regardless of the feedback.
Wow. Well, I don't know about that. But they do make adjustments. But there are other things where they just go and do it, and bam, that you got to take it. So we wish they did this with everything. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, this person says here, they're saying their group was there and that folks had time and they had an emergency meeting on Friday or called an emergency meeting on Friday to have a meeting on Saturday to decide not to go. Is that right, my Junkanoo producer? What? He's nodding. So that's true? They called an emergency meeting to say, hey, we ain't going on Monday.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh, boy. Yikes. Well, there you go.
Wow.
There you go. You see? Now that's crazy.
That is crazy.
That is crazy. This text says the Freeport guys sent out to just under 300 people. That's laughable compared to the thousands that make up the A group Sunny Providence. Why are you hating on Freeport, though? I mean, that's what they got. That's what they got. Why don't you move to Freeport to help them?
They may need the support.
All right. So the meeting with folks, I cannot say I have asked. So we'll see. I will ask. But I know they haven't been on any other. I have not heard it on any other programs. Are they doing any media runs? The government or whoever's behind the bill to get the public to understand what this is about, or are they only meeting with the stakeholders? And they know when to come to us, but other times they refuse to. It's very strange. But I'll reach out and we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't know what we'll get, what response. But yeah, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Oh, okay. All right, so they have been doing a couple. So it's just us there. Okay. But anyway, we'll work. We'll see if we can get the. Well, why would he be doing that? Anyway, that's another story. Okay. More text messages here. Yes, I agree. Too much attention. Boy, it's a serious text. You mean on whose part? The media or on everybody in general? Just everybody? We pay too much attention to Junkanoo. Wow.
Well, I guess.
There you have it. My goodness. What do you say to that, Duquesa?
Too much attention on Junkanoo. I don't think so. I don't think it's too much attention. There's so many people that love and participate in Junkanoo, and this would impact everything that they do. And so I feel that the dialogue is necessary. I feel the transparency is necessary. It needs to be brought to the public as well, so that, it's and there could be conversation about it. We could agree to disagree, but at least everything will be aired out properly.
All right, so, hey, we'll leave that there, Junkanoo. So we've been talking about crime quite a bit after the very violent weekend. And there was a walkabout in Englerston. Members of Urban Renewal, the police force, and the Bahamas Christian Council holding a walkabout. And our Latonya Roberts writing about this in today's National Guardian. So the police noting that they get the public's concern, of course, and understanding this, teaming up with these other stakeholders, they can make people feel at ease, I guess. I'm not sure. But Englerston MP Glenn Santa Martin was there and said the community must cooperate and collaborate with law enforcement to tackle crime. She said, quote, "The issues that we face in this country are much deeper and more fundamental than this place here, ministry, or the police. What we are seeing goes to the psyche of our country. I think that all of us have to engage ourselves in what we are seeing. I think once we start saying that's for you to do or that's for you to do, you find that people relinquish themselves of any engagement in what is happening in the country." What happened here on Speechless. Yeah. Meanwhile, Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernander also on the walkabout, saying that he's appealing to the younger generation to seek help if they need it. Saying, quote, "The message we want to send is that you are loved. We are a community. I used to pastor in this community. 2 young men who were killed used to come into the Grove and be a part of the teams the stuff that we were doing in the Grove. We want them to know that we're not just here in the cameras, we're in the community, and we're here whenever you need us. And if you need us, speak to us. What do you make of that? What do you make of that? Will they get that message? Will they think that they can talk to anyone like that? What more can we do to reach those folks who seem to believe this is the life that they should be? Enlightenment and chaos and madness. And that is,
I don't know if
better than
that.
the boring life that so many despise. What were you saying?
I said, I don't know if it's going to be that, like this, what's happening, this crime, these sad conscience, because you have to have a sad conscience to take a life. Like, it has to have no value to you. You have to have no longer holding on to your moral beliefs that, murder is wrong or taking a life is wrong. I think this goes so much deeper by showing up with guns. I think the problem started many, 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 many years prior to that. And if we were able to take the time to really dig into some of their lives and some of their situations and some of the things that may have happened or not happened in their life, it may give us insight into the mindset behind all of this criminal activity. Like, there's a root cause that we're missing. Why is murder accepted? Why is crime accepted? We've walked away, Dwight, so far from when we lived in community, when community could chastise and raise children, when community could celebrate children. We've moved away from being our brother's keeper. We've moved away from having safe our kids to be in. We've moved away from that community parenting, where even if it was a single mom, in that home, there would be the Grammy, there would be other people who would help nurture and support. And as taboo as it sounds, when we're not teaching principles that stick, then we end up with chaos. And that's the route we have to get to. How do we prevent other children moving forward from getting to the mindset that it's okay to, like, the video that I watch, how do you just stand there and riddle bullets at somebody and be okay with that? Why isn't that tripping you out?
Yeah. Well, there are answers for this, right? This is all. There's several generations where this is all they've known. A steady diet of this between video games and TV shows and movies. Think about it. It's a few decades. The top-rated TV shows are all about murder. Either people who commit murder or people who solve murder, but every day somebody getting killed. Every single hour of the day, that is all you can find on television, online, on traditional media, wherever. It's just murder, 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 murder. Even in comedy, we just love it, apparently. And the people singing about it, the people who've done it, who are living successful lives, who are hailed and celebrated in the community all over the world. And so the double talk is the problem. Like, you say these things, but you make fun of the people who are living like librarians, who just go home and read, because nobody wants that type. Well, right? That's a loser. But I want to have an exciting life and have fun and like thrills.
There are other ways to have thrills and excitement. Like, seriously.
Who's showing them? Who's showing them those things?
Aha. That's it right there. Who is showing them? That's it right there, Dwight. Who's making the time or taking the time?
Exactly. Yeah. So we've got to practice what we preach. And I'm just always surprised at how, especially in the U.S., but we're no better, the most outrageous movies, holding everybody hostage and shooting up a place. And when it happens in real life, how? Why? Oh, my gosh. But this is all that you have on display all the time.
The seeds have been planted.
Same thing is happening here. Credits roll. Next one comes on. Same thing.
Yep.
Just another day.
Yep.
And that's how plenty of our people. Let's hear from you folks. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Good morning. Hi, caller. Good morning. You're on the air. Turn on the radio for us, please.
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
You know, the problem we have, right, is that people can't afford a life living, don't have affordable living in this Bahamas for the vast majority of the people in this country, right? So, you don't want to legislate a livable wage, things like that. The international organization tell us that the problem be the cost of living. You know what I'm saying? What it costs just for housing in this country, and that's real. You see? So what our government does is they give like housing, like affordable housing, and even any type of land grants to people, to a select group of people. Not everybody gets it. You know what I mean? A small number of people get it. You see, and see, the young people, they got ambition. I hear you talk about gamers, people gaming, and everybody games. Doctors gaming, young doctors, all the youth gaming, young educated people gaming. Everybody is gaming. They're doing the same thing. They know all the Jay-Z, they know all the artists too. They listen to everything. There's no difference. The only difference is their salaries. The only difference.
Well, I think it's a little more than that. I think it's from an early age, tell them that this is just fantasy. This is just a game. This is definitely not what you should do or even think about doing as a decent human. In the absence of that, whether you are middle class, rich, or poor, because we know rich people who've done this as well, who've become murderers.
Means that it really is the economic policies of our government, not the policies of human rights and other policies. They don't with the economic policies.
It plays a role, definitely. Plays a role. I don't think it's
all things. If I say to you, well, yesterday in the news was the immigrants, the Haitian immigrants doing crime because they don't have a passport. Or they
so are you saying that the rich don't commit crimes? That they don't?
No, the crime said that come on, you just don't get stopped in the street. You know what I mean? Because they're driving a car. You see them driving a car. They're a Honda. They don't get stopped for that. There's different type of crime. And then we talk about, then it comes to land distribution. I guess I'm going to talk about, you can't give everybody land. The drug dealers out there can afford land because they deal in drugs. They can't afford no land, no minimum wage. Hello?
Yeah, we're listening. Like I say.
I mean, these things, see, it's a system. It goes back to the same economic policies of our government, that neoliberal thing. See, the neoliberal thing, we still colonize from that.
Okay.
That's why Haiti's going through this war, because of that colonization, colonization. They fighting these Haitian people. They fighting colonization. You know what I'm saying? They fighting groups in their nation who support the colonization from it. You know what I'm saying? You realize that.
So let me ask you this:
talk about our position, our geological position in America. You know, Haiti is like the door for the Panama Canal. You don't know Haiti have just the location of Haiti has geopolitical, geological importance to the United States or to the world powers. That same Panama Canal. But anyway, thank you, sir.
All right, thanks a lot. Definitely economics playing a factor, without a doubt.
It does.
Without a doubt.
Does.
But we know a lot of poor people who would never.
And then, I also consider that we put people in hard positions sometimes, because look at when we have the stateless adults, like they're 18, and what could you do? You can't go to college. You can't really get a decent, in quotes, job. So many things that you can't do. Are you then forced to find income other ways? Like how do we also look into resolving some of that so that people could very quickly be processed if they have access to citizenship. And if not, like go where they have citizenship and can get legal employment.
Yeah.
But all of that contributes.
Yeah, absolutely. It all does. You cannot say any one thing is the issue, right? We know plenty of rich people who have done, who continue to do all manner of foolishness, right? The white collar crime, have people killed, kill people themselves. If everybody in the country had $100,000 every few months, do we think that there would be no more murders? I don't think that's how it works. We have a lot of poorly socialized people who are rich, who are middle class, who are poor, across the board. There's some poor people who would never do anything to hurt somebody. Never. People who would gladly stomp on your face. So that's not it. But it plays a role. Absolutely. And we have to do better, without a doubt. No one can disagree on that. But caller, what say you? Good morning.
Hey, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Miss Dana. Good morning, Dwight. My battery getting dead. Sorry about that. Paul, for you. Dwight, you was talking about the games and stuff like that, right?
Talking about everything.
Huh?
Talking about everything.
Yeah, no, you saying something particularly about those games we let our children play? And the movies and all that would we be watching and stuff like that? That PlayStation 5 on that and the Xbox have this game with called Grand Theft Auto. Listening to him, son be playing it and stuff like that. And the things what he have to do to get points and to win the game, I try to keep that away from him because I believe that could play a role. And same things what they do in the robbery, they crash when they done kill people, they go and shoot someone or get another car, do all the things, go on mission, teach them how to fly plane and go on mission. So us parents, we have a role to play also. I agree with what I hear the Minister of Education was saying. I like what she had to say. I want to encourage her though. I want to encourage her as the Minister of Education to talk to the Prime Minister because they have the funds and he really have the last say to work along with social service and the police. And let's get into the public schools, the government schools. I don't know how much it's a problem in the private schools. But what I understand from the Union for the Teachers and reported on the news over the months is that we have a gang problem. It's sad to say a Haitian gang problem or what, but I understand we have a gang problem, and I think we need to pay attention to that to see if we could save some of the children. I don't know if you have the two papers in front of you, the Guardian and the Tribune. Eric Fox, he worked with Herbal Renewal on that run, which you say Glennis Anna Martin was on in the constituency, Angliston. He had something to say. I don't know if you could read that for the public. I hear what he had to say about members being thirsty with revenge and warm blood. And I agree when he mentioned the part that going into the schools to deal with the primary schools, to deal with the bullying and different things, because this thing starts. I hear some of these people, them family members saying that this starts from when the gangs wars and they never let it dead. So maybe we need to, the Minister of Education, encourage her to see if we could get them Haitian gangs out of the school. Sorry to say it that way. Keep up the good work.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. Let's take some more calls. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And good morning, Kwasa, Dean.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm just playing this radio. Yeah, Dwight and the Kwasa. We talking about everything this morning, right? Hello?
Hi, yeah, we're listening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Dwight, when it comes to, I believe what we see in our country continually, right, is just the lack of will, you know, because there's, I believe poverty is a construct, right? Because, you know, poverty is something, is a tool used for control, and right? That's what I believe. Because why? There isn't no program, right, for people trying to get poor in this world, right? But there's programs for people to try to get wealthy out of poverty because of that construct, right? And this is the reason why I feel that, you know, while poverty is not the ultimate cause for poor people finding themselves in the position they normally find themselves in, right? We could go to any prison and take the percentage and poor people inside these facilities, and those numbers should mean something or say something or suggest to us that, like, hey, is poor people would finding themselves, because it'll be that way, and this is why we find government interested in trying to address poverty. Why? Because poverty, the trickle-down effect from poverty, it powers businesses, right? But and we have to change that mindset, because why? The same type of peace and tranquility where rich people reside is where all of us need to be residing, and see, when poverty also breeds division amongst rich people, right? So we have to look at this. We have to look at this from a more clearer understanding, because why? Most poor people didn't plan to be poor, right? But most rich people, they plan to be poor. I mean, they plan to be rich, right? So we have to understand that we need poor people need to be looked at from a more positive way, and not to be looked at as they are entitled just to be poor, and there shouldn't be no avenues created for them to elevate themselves out of that crime-infested mentality. Guys, have a nice.
Interesting, very interesting perspectives. A few things I could say. I'm not going to say it today, though. But, okay, let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? No, call us back. 323-6232. 325-4316. 259. Got a few of your text messages. Oh, this is a couple leftover Junkanoo ones. This person says here, the JCMP planned not to attend the Junkanoo Authority consultation. That this was from Saturday, the JCMP for the participants. You'd be surprised there's only 8 A groups. There are several B groups, then individual guys who carry single costumes. The JCMP has the max of 20 representatives. There are over 15,000 participants. The JCMP can't speak for all of us. Well, that's why people should have gone. I mean, they are not a union. Plus, don't control your brains. If you wanted to go, go. Just because they say they aren't going. And there were people there who said they were part of the JCMP who went. So, I mean, why wouldn't they? Okay. I don't understand. Anyway, the JCMP was given notice on Friday with respect to the consultation held on Monday, 9 a.m. Further, there is already an established meeting as between the JCMP continuing dialogue scheduled for the end of the month. What was the purpose of having the JCMP there yesterday at what was termed a public consultation? Okay, I get you. But if members wanted to go, they could have gone, right? So you're not there as an JCMP representative, but as a person who loves Junkanoo. Fine.
As a public person, as a member of the public.
A member of the public, exactly. This person says here, Minister Glenn Santa Martin should be ashamed of herself. Glenn Eggleston has been invaded by Haitians. She represented this area for years. Okay. Yeah, that text makes sense to you. It's a collective government, right? If people are renting to them, I don't think they turned the whole place into a shanty town. I don't think they squatted. So people are renting. Everywhere. Most of them have jobs. So it's all of us who should be ashamed if the place is all of us. So I hope you're pointing your finger at yourself too. We all have contributed to this mess that we're in, if that's how you see it. This person says that Popper was spot on. I couldn't believe the number of video games I see where you have to carjack and kill people. Points are the most popular ones, right? And he's also right about the gangs. We don't have a gang problem. We have a Haitian gang problem. Miami, Trinidad, Barbados having the same problem. Okay. Wow. This person says, Dwight, I believe you're asleep. You know, you gotta want the best for the Bahamas. You live here too, and you are acting like you're of Haitian descent.
Oh, wow.
Because your views, you know, maybe you have someone from Haiti. It's very stupid.
What?
It's dumb. I mean, what did I say that you're talking about?
So,
but people here really want to hear.
Wow.
Why do these so-called religious leaders always show up on walkabouts after the fact? Read Acts 5:42. And every day in the temple and from house to house, they continued without good news about the Christ. I believe that is happening. You're just not looking or listening. right? Let's go to the news. We'll pick this up on the other side. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Rate 9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796 GR96. And now at 8:24, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Looking to paint? Well, your local Sherwin-Williams store has top-quality paints, expert advice, and everyday discounts to help you save only at Sherwin-Williams. Here's what's going on. We've got moderate to fresh breezes and warm temperatures associated with high pressure across the country. Meanwhile, a mid to upper level disturbance expected to enhance isolated shower activity across the central and portions of the northwest Bahamas today. Over the next few days, though, high pressure will continue to dominate weather for the rest of the week, resulting in mainly stable conditions and very, very warm temperatures. But daytime heating combined with low-level moisture will trigger occasional passing showers and afternoon thunderstorms. Boaters and beachgoers along all Atlantic exposures and open passages are advised to remain alert for swells as the weekend approaches and as Tropical Storm Erin moves across the Atlantic and passing just a bit. But today, though, heat and UV indices expected to be in the very high range, as we've been experiencing almost every day for the past few weeks. So for today, forecast for the extreme northern islands, including Grandma, becoming fair tonight, a 10 to 20% chance of isolated showers and afternoon thunderstorms. For the northwest Bahamas and the central islands, look for a mix of sun and clouds, becoming mostly fair tonight, with a 20 to 30% chance of showers and afternoon thunderstorms, and partly mostly sunny today, becoming fair tonight for the southeast Bahamas, with a 10 to 20% chance of isolated showers and possible afternoon thunderstorms. Again, temperatures, it's going to feel hot. It's going to be hot. 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius for expected highs. It's going to feel like 104 Fahrenheit, though, 40 Celsius with the heat index, around 78, 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook for tomorrow, Wednesday, partly sunny during the day, becoming fair at night. Pretty much the same for Thursday and into Friday. By Saturday, a mix of sun and clouds gradually becoming cloud areas, and the same for Sunday into Monday. In the tropics, watching a number of areas. We've got in the northwest Atlantic a non-tropical area of low pressure located a few hundred miles southeast of Nova Scotia, Canada, has a 10% chance of formation through the next 7 days. No threat to us, of course. In the northeastern Gulf of Mexico, a surface trough in the north central Gulf associated with a broad area of disorganized showers. That has a very low chance of formation through the next 7 days. But we are watching Tropical Storm Erin. Erin is expected to strengthen, likely to become a hurricane later this week, which is the central tropical Atlantic. As of 5 o'clock this morning, Erin was about 690 miles west of the Cabo Verde Islands, or 1,890 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands. Erin is moving towards the west near 22 miles per hour and continue for the next several days, with a decrease in forward speed and a gradual turn to the west-northwest. Maximum sustained winds are near 45 miles per hour with higher gusts. Gradual strengthening is forecast over the next few days, and Erin is expected to become a major hurricane in the next. So it is making its move west across the Atlantic, but most models are predicting a turn towards the north and away from us and away from the U.S. And we're hoping that holds this weekend and early next week. constantly keep you posted, and we all should be paying attention to air it. That is your Morning Blend Weather Check. Weather Check also brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple. And it's time for a check of traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. In your real-time traffic right now, we are seeing some heavy traffic on East Street just as you approach the intersection with Soldier Road. That's northbound. You'll be seeing that. It's backed up a bit as well, eastbound to that intersection. Over on Blue Hill Road, also busy for you near Carmichael and north of the area, north of Soldier Road on the way to Independence Drive. Heavy northbound traffic there. Some slow-moving traffic as well. Milo Butler Highway, seeing some slow-moving traffic as you approach Harold Pond, and that's going to be all the way up to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway if you're heading northbound. Tonic Williams-Darling Highway into Harold Road, also seeing slow-moving westbound and eastbound traffic, east and west of that roundabout. Otherwise, not much to talk about at this point, but expect things to change in a few days as some schools begin to open next week. That is your Morning Blend Traffic, also brought to you by NUA Insurance, agents and brokers, your partner for smart motor insurance and advice that puts you first. Whether you're at home or on the go, getting an instant motor quote is easy. Give them a call or visit your nearest branch or log in anytime at nuainsurance.com.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For free on-site accident assistance. Visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Shop early to get your uniforms and catch Janae's Uniform Center's buy 4, get 1 free sale. Free monogrammed and regular school shirts, dry fit and cotton polos, jumpers, skirts, boys' long and short pants, PE shorts, underclothes, tights, socks, neckties, belts, accessories, and character work desk. Get 50% off backpacks, lunch bags, and raincoats. Buy 4 school shirts, get 1 free. Buy 2 skirts, jumpers, or pants, get the third 50% off. Need embroidery and monogramming done? Visit Janae's Uniform Center early. Beat the back-to-school rush. Janae's Chesapeake Road back-to-school special. Restrictions apply. This October, Bahama invites you to indulge your senses at the Culinary and Arts Festival, where world-class flavors meet breathtaking creativity in the heart of the Bahamas. Join us October 22nd through 26th for an unforgettable celebration featuring culinary legends Marcus Samuelson, Dario Zucchini, Simeon Hall Jr., and Scott Conant, alongside a vibrant lineup of chefs and mixologists. Explore captivating art installations, interactive workshops, and live performances, all set against the stunning backdrop of Nassau's premier luxury resort. From curated tasting events to beachfront feasts and immersive gallery experiences, it's more than a festival, it's a feast for the soul. Tickets and packages are going fast. Visit bahamar.com to reserve your spot at the Culinary and Arts Festival at Bahamar, where taste and talent take center stage.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean Nana. Oh boy, did you maybe you don't want to say the name.
He's a junior. So his name is Ian.
Ian, okay.
Ian DeCarlo Johnson.
Okay, wonderful stuff. Congratulations again. We are talking about what's in the news. Coming up in a few minutes, F&M leader Michael Pintard to be here. Lots of things to talk to him about in a few minutes, so you don't want to miss that. Okay, so we were talking about what's happening in the news, reaction to the mass shooting. It really was 7 people shot on shootings. It's the steady stream of gun violence in the country, and the response to this. What should be the response? Lots of people saying that this is the reason, that's the reason. It's a combination of all of it, isn't it? Economic factors without a doubt, but also poor socialization. Lots of people who are thinking that this is fine and normal and this is the way you live, right? By the sword, I guess. And lots of people who don't seem to think they have control over what their children are doing. They're teenagers, they're right? Young adult, maybe that is hard, are doing, and kids who are growing up themselves and doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
But they're learning that from the adults who are doing the same thing and have been doing the same thing. So we've got a vicious cycle and revenge, anger, just so many things.
Yep. So many kids are looking for belonging. They join gangs and just to feel a part of something, to be seen.
Yeah. Let's hear from you, though. Let's continue to hear from you. We got some unusual text messages there. Of course, immigration is blamed often. Oh, boy, I'm telling you. Though, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning, Duquesa.
She can hear you right there.
Oh, okay. Duquesa, man, a grandmother too? Man, Dwight, I listen to Duquesa on this radio every week. I think the Duquesa with 26, like you all say, young sexy on the radio every week. I get a 26-year-old grandmother. Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
When I have newborns in my family like that, by many times it just runs through my mind. I see saying, one day the Bahamas will be when they get to anybody. I'm a radar the Bahamas guy now. But, Dwight, I have something for you, too. Mm-hmm. You think I use the undercover chief like? But what happened to you all this weekend is what happened during the regular season. Now,
undercover chief. Okay.
Colonel Martin. Man, talks. Like, you can get away with talk. Like, I've been around the block a couple times. What I see yesterday when she talking, we say that for the last 20 years or so. Like, I the video what I see two there in Virgin Park. Then I see on the next video with some students who are white and brown pants. They get home with a high-powered rifle. And then on high-speed chase, when he's shooting up at the police and things, then they get hold of it. In the last 24 hours, I can see 4 high-powered weapons. Man, Hannah Martin, when you go in the House Assembly tomorrow, instead of beating up on the table, let's change this old ancient that we have, man. Put some laws on the book. Going forward now, if you get hold with these high-powered rifles, and a year for each shot or something. Man, let's put some type of law in place instead of just talking, man. There's plenty barking, no bite, man. That's what he's doing in the Bahamas, and bark. Now, another thing. Miss King, she said on the scene Saturday, the police is here in seconds. That goes to show you the quick response of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Man, the Globe Police Station, a rock thrown away, and then these shots spoilers. Shots, the police was informed that shots was fired in Archer Village, Pinewood, and LL. When the police reached there, was a pool of blood. Man, we got to spend $18 million just to know shots was fired in Archer Village this week. Someone to call it shots was fired anyhow. This is what I thought would happen with Marvin James. $17 million on the Jones and $17 million on the sports shutters. The drone up there flying around like an eagle, like a hawk, that's floating around. No Providence when it's 21/7. Now, in the small shot, pick up the shot, they in the same room. The drone over Richland Park right away. Someone then call and say, dark, gray cube, leaving the scene. Camera and infrared on them drone to in the night. The drone pick up that dark cube, because when I see them around them drug dealers' house, they see every car would come in to buy drugs and everything, they moving that thing to see all that. So they only use it for the drug dealers. They fly in and they pick up that dark gray cube. Now, after two up in Robinson Road, and I see them in the area, I stay on the road. I don't know how you could have two machine gun and a cube and all that traffic and everything after two. I stay in traffic around that area. So the drone see the dark gray cube leaving the scene from Robinson Road Ray. They radio into out of these trucks and they go there, yeah, they gain our first street, our second street, they had the mountain lights in there, and they bust them like that. That's what I thought when we spent 80 million would have happened. But just spending 20 million, shots was fired in time when the police reached there, a young man in a pool of blood. And someone call and say, hey, so we ain't need to do that, but we need to face these arcade laws with on the books, man, and stop just barking, and let up somebody. All have a wonderful day.
Okay, all right. We said a lot, but making sense. Yeah, I hear you. The times when they'll hear shots, I think, that plenty of people didn't hear. For instances like that, it's needed, but you're right. In most cases, but I hear you. It's communication. They just need to do a better job in telling you how they are using the technology they have. They have tons of it, but more and frequent education on how, unless people to know, because they want to catch people by surprise. I don't know. Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning and pleasant day to you and your co-host.
Hi. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
I'm grieving for the young men in our society, and actually they're boys, teenagers and school children and so on. And I'm thinking that perhaps we should have joint rallies. Rallies normally associate with political seasons. Joint rally, motorcades, of how we're going to redeem, collectively, our boys. We look at the national results from examination and we're seeing the girls are failing. And these same boys who are sometimes thrown out of classes, getting all kind of mischief, and now they are ruling the world, 14 years to 25 years. Even the older young men are now scared of these little boys who have all kind of guns and so on. So we need to come together and say, yes, what we're going to do about it, and do it collectively. No one party coming or going can solve the problem. Another issue about the tidiness, a person complained of persons going to the hospital using a mask. When they get out of the hospital, they throw the mask on the ground when there are bins to be thrown into. They may use a soda instead of put in their car or put it in a bin. They stick it between the wall and the corner. So these are little things that we all need to work on, and hopefully we treat this thing as a real, like an emergency. Just because election time coming around is a nice season. The season should be all around, all year round, to make the Bahamas safe for everyone.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, let's get back to the text line. This person says there isn't one single solitary reason. It's a combination of factors. Poverty being one of them, illegal immigration, social media, games, etc. If the majority of the violence is connected to gangs, let's ask ourselves, why are these young men, 16, 17, 18, joining them? They look validation or something that we're all meant to feel from a family breakdown in family and absence of fathers from the home. Let's consider ways that we can push these men to join other groups that give them ultimately what they're looking for, security. I used to be a teacher, and I would often speak frankly to my students that life will only end one or two ways, death or jail. I try to open their eyes. They are only being used as pawns. We all can play a role. Teachers, community, parents, church, government, private institutions. This is a heart issue. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
It is. No one pause.
Yeah. Another text here. The police are doing a great job in catching these murderers, but the court system has to do a better job in keeping these thugs. Yeah. Lawyers are doing a great job, too, getting them off.
Yeah.
So everybody's doing their part. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? Okay, some letters and words are missing. Anyway, they're saying Glennis Hannah Martin is only the education minister. We need the national security minister and the finance minister to help give some bite in response to the call, I guess. To come together. They are doing what they think needs to be done, but a lot of people are saying a whole lot more needs to be done. A whole lot more. More calls, 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. Here.
Hey, good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your co-host.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
The Cresser.
Yes, good morning.
Hey, good morning. The text you read just now, Dwight, in reference to most of the times these criminals get off because of the job that the police did, Because if you notice, if you listen sometimes, it's the way they collect evidence or not. It's the way they handle the criminal while trying to get their evidence or trying to capture the criminals. And all of these things are why and how these criminals get off. It's not the court's fault. The lawyer, pardon?
I hear you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they do a good job at catching them. But I think, too, if they are humane in the way they deal with it, I know they'd probably be a bit frustrated, but I think they need to do it a bit more humane. So when the criminals reach before the courts, them and their lawyers don't have no loophole to squeeze through. Because we've been having this on and off, in and out, with criminals and courts and so on for too long, for far too long now. So the police have to do a better job when gathering evidence and capturing these criminals, so their part can be clean and without giving the criminals a loophole to squeeze through. Because the court have to do what the court have to do and follow the law. If you do something to them, beat them or I guess manhandle them, for lack of a better word, and just do shabby work with gathering evidence, this is our result.
Yeah. Great points. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We know what she's talking about.
To the fact that there's so many ways, or so many prongs to this. That the responsibility doesn't just sit in one place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an uncomfortable truth there. Good morning. What say you?
On the Questa, and congratulations to Questa on
Good
the
morning.
addition to your family.
Thank you.
Dwight, I listened to the previous caller. We have to understand that there are a number of factors that have to be played into this scenario of crime. First and foremost, you have to understand that inside the prison system as well, among those that have been incarcerated, is an underground network, whereas people learn from other people through their experience. You could imagine a couple of them going in there saying that they were manhandled or by the police, and they weren't touched. But because that seems now to be a norm with a whole lot of them, that is now being used as a basis to get leniency. It's a number of things that we have to consider here, and of course it's on a case-by-case basis. The big thing with me, though, is technology, which I'm highly immersed in. And I have yet to still learn the use of the CCTV cameras in various strategic locations on the island. Let me give you a classic example. With that CCTV camera and AI, I could read every license plate. I could tell whether that license plate belongs to that particular car. I could scan inside the car to see who the individual is, whether they're wanted, and AI automatically would give you the information whether that person is wanted or whether it's clear. It's more like taking on, there was a program on TV called Person of Interest. The U.S. government had employed, or a sector of the U.S. government had employed the technology that actually follows people around, even though we would not want that to happen. But this is the route that we are actually taking right now with so many people walking around. We don't know who they are, what they're doing, various in, so on and so forth. And this is just the modern way the world is going right now. But we need more information, basically as a public, on what these cameras are actually capable of doing on our streets. Are they reading the license plates? Are they watching persons? And for that particular incident that happened with that AI technology, with that car, especially after given a description, may not be the most accurate, but at least it's a starting point to follow vehicles around from point A to point B as they cross the surveillance cameras. That's just, again, like I said, because I'm always thinking technologically. That's just I think can happen with these cameras if we have not employed or deployed that technology, the use of that technology for these cameras. But thanks for taking my call this morning. I'll continue to listen.
Okay. Thanks a lot. A few text messages here. This person says here, I'm not sure our governments over the decades have wanted to prevent crime. They hire anyone to consult for them. They need a new playbook. Okay. Well, as people know, we've been saying that for a long time. It's big business. It's big business. What's going on? We know that. From the lawyers to the doctors, morticians, T-shirt makers for the funerals and stuff. Everybody benefits.
Yep.
Everybody benefits. Anyway, this texter says here, good morning. I've been trying to bring light to what's going on in Engliston for some time. As you heard this morning, we get tired of complaining, reporting, praying. Don't call it inhumane when the only thing left to do talk. The people who are in authoritative positions are definitely part of this invasion in the heart of our country. Be blessed. Okay. Well. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, baby sis, and congratulations on your class.
Thank you.
Dwight, 3 quick things. There ain't no place to squat in Angleston, right? The squatters to reside. Every place is populated basically in the Angleston constituency. Someone mentioned the squatting.
No. I folks aren't squatting. Yeah, right. They're not squatting. Okay. They're renting from people.
Right. Okay.
If they are, and I'm sure some are, they're illegally in the country illegally, but they're renting from people and have jobs.
An issue with these persons.
Yes.
Okay. Another thing. When we talk about the criminals and what they're doing with the policing and being apprehended and being held and all the rest of that in the court, there was a case where the culprit, one of them doing time, who was a Jamaican national in prison, and the other one was let off by the judge because it was said that a facial tattoo was not recognized when the person was charged, right? Now, baby says, if you're going to commit a crime and you got a facial tattoo, what sort of makeup, a mark, and all the rest of that you can use to cover that? What you can use to do that, right? Because that person would have had to been pulled out of a lineup by the police in association with the other person that's doing time in Vauxhall still, right? That's number 2. And then what I'm saying that heavily that this person was picked up out of a lineup and charged because a facial tattoo not being recognized would have been covered up with some sort of makeup or some, some skin toning stuff. You see? The other thing is the Richard Johnson issue with the F&M and switching to the PLC. I'm not the fellow who's been in controversy with the party.
Yes.
Well, anyway, just an advice to Richard. the food chain, the switch party is this cycle and day. I'm going from one major party to the next. We all can read into that. So, little Richard, nickname Dick, you know what I mean? Don't let people use you because it sounds as if he's pulling for Minutes, but I don't think Minutes is going to switch over and be a PLP, right? I'm former Prime Minister.
Well, we wouldn't know, but hey.
So Richard, I just want to say, little Richard, nickname Dick. Don't be a dick, okay?
What? I don't think you can say this on the radio. What was that just now? Okay. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi. Are you there? Okay. Oh well, we have FM leader Michael Pintar coming. We'll ask him about that. Gets here. This person says here, just tuning in. My concern is of that walkabout yesterday. This is being reactive. Should we not be proactive or more proactive? The police ought to know where the hot spots are. Further, on the walkabout, I observed a few foot soldiers, the majority wearing khaki. What do they do on it? That's a good question. I've wondered that myself. There's a lot of people sometimes you say, where are these guys all normally? They're not at the police stations. There's a few. But are they at headquarters? Training college? Where are they? Mr. Producer, do you know? I don't get myself in any trouble now, but where are they normally? But anyway, just curious. I'm sure there's a simple answer. This person says here, oh no, I'm not reading that.
What, Gene?
People very love to throw this war word. Well, why are we? Did you hear what the Prime Minister or the Premier of Turks and Caicos had to say about the Haitian gangs? They have the same problems that they have in Miami. I agree with what the caller Muff had to say, drones with a firearm gun on it. Really? So they can stop the murderers, the killers before they get away. No, wait a minute now. Seriously, what are you talking about? That sounds right to you? Yeah, and you would be comfortable.
Shoot at something
right?
Shooting, is that what the proposed?
Shoot before you know what really happened. Shoot at that child that got in the way. Just you want the machines to have weapons to shoot at us. That makes perfect sense. I've seen that in a movie before. It didn't end well for the humans. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning to Cressa.
Hi. Good morning.
I just want to lend my voice to this conversation regarding crime.
Turn on your radio for us, please, though. Turn on your radio for us. We're hearing a lot of feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what the police need is technology to locate guns. They have technology that could know when a shot fired from a gun, what they call shot spotter, right? You think they can't develop technology that is able to locate where these guns are in Nassau? They have drones that go everywhere, so I believe if they could develop a technology to spot these guns that is located, the guns, and they don't have to bring any more guns in this country, especially in Nassau. The guns are somewhere located in Nassau where these guys could find them. So I feel like with technology, man, that could locate these guns. They have drones. So if you could utilize these drones to fly over where these guns are and detect them like that.
That would be whoever creates that technology would be a billionaire. Tonight, that's something. That would be something that techie scientist people work on it. Wow. One more call before we have to break for news. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning. You're live.
Yes, that's a quick return call. I forgot to congratulate our youngest grandmother in the house. And also regarding the drones and the technology, I'm afraid of those because that's what's killing the people out in Gaza. Maybe that's where they're watching and seeing what's happening with those drones, killing armed drones. Maybe that's what they're figuring out.
Yeah.
And we don't want here to happen to be lawless like that.
Yeah.
We want to remain a true democracy, not a democracy on name, on books.
Well, most of us do want that. Yes, right. To be a democracy. You're right. Thank you so much. I see when people are desperate, they'll say these things and feel like all hope is lost.
So I want to say this, right? And maybe being a bit of a devil's advocate, but if you look at some of the countries like Singapore, Japan, and China, and these sorts of places, they're not democracies.
Well, Japan is definitely, and they have, but there are consequences for actions in all of them. That's what they have in common, right? Singapore, China, Japan, serious consequences, and you don't do that. It won't be pleasant. It won't be pleasant. It's a very different story for many in the Bahamas. Right, I could talk my way out of this. I can get a lawyer. I can do this. I know my boy, my friend, my cousin is this, and or I could just do the time because everybody's there and everything will be cool, and I don't have anything going on now anyway, so I might as well spend 2 years there or whatever. Ankle bracelets are fun. They're cool. They look nice. Yeah, I don't know, but that's what we're doing around here. Or I just don't care if I die. And that is what we're facing. The consequences don't mean anything, it seems, to so many people. That's the big difference. And we've got to find a way to fix that. And also get people to not want to commit crimes. Which one's the easier one to do?
I just sighed very deeply.
Yeah. This text as we go to the news. This person says here, the public has lost faith in the police, in the legal system, and in our politicians. As a nation, we're drifting. What is happening with, like the Michael Johnson case? The former commissioner promised a thorough investigation. The new one echoed the same promise, and now silence. Well, I think there's a court date that is scheduled to, right? We're just waiting for that to go through the courts. But we can't keep turning a blind eye. It's time to clean house, time to drain the swamp. Again, there's got to be consequences. And it has to be clear and obvious to everyone that, hey, you saw what they did to that one? You can't do that. You don't want to do that. You got to find a better way. And that is, we can't say that in this country. Not yet. Not yet. All right, we're going to go to the news, and then we will be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
And welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean. We are expecting F&M leader Michael Pintard to be with us in just a moment, but we'll get started with our morning business report. Morning Business Report. Grand Bahama President Dylan Knowles says that notwithstanding Concord Wilshire highlighting the challenges associated with the redevelopment of the Grand Bahama International Airport in regard to its schedule to redevelop the resort, he doesn't believe that Concord Wilshire will get a raw deal when it purchased, or got a raw deal when it purchased the property. Concord Wilshire Capital's Senior Managing Director of Cruise Ship Resorts, Adam Petrillo, said the redevelopment of the airport will determine the completion schedule for Grand Lucayan. Knowles saying that Grand Lucayan has been through a lot and can see this as a timing issue. You can read more on that in today's Guardian Business section. The Grand Bahama Port Authority recently participated in the Source Direct at ASD Market Week in Las Vegas, the fastest growing sourcing show in America, focusing on attracting non-U.S. based manufacturing and distribution companies to participate in Freeport's, quote, unique tax and duty exemption. In a statement, the GBPA explained that the ASD Market Week, held August 3rd through 6th, was a crucial platform for promoting investment, generating high-quality leads, facilitating direct business-to-business engagement to support local licensees. The shifts in the global trade environment, thanks to U.S. President Donald Trump's trade wars, have positioned Freeport for growth, given its notes, policies, and the Port Authority's reputation in regard to ease of doing business. President of the Arawak Conch Fish, Vegetable, and Food Vendors Association, Rodney Russell, warning the developers of two structures on Arawak Key that where they are building is flood prone and they are at risk of losing their investment. Russell said that the two buildings located on the eastern end of the fish fry are, quote, almost in the water, and their concerns not receive proper approval for their construction. The first building is a 2-story structure. The second is a 3-story structure just south of the first one. Meanwhile, Deputy Director at the Ministry of Works, Craig Delancey, says the owner of the was given notice to stop construction and to tear down the structures several weeks back. Delancey says he has not been able to get a notice to the owner of the 2-story structures yet. You can read more about all of this in today's Guardian Business section. And BISX, the Bahamas International Securities Exchange, with the listing of 6 sub-funds on the exchange. BISX Chief Executive Officer Keith Davies announcing in a statement this week that it listed the 6 funds under the Opportunidad Global Fund Limited (SAC). The statement explained that the 6 sub funds are what they are and more, and you can read all about it in today's Guardian Business section. Overseas inflation likely ticked up in the U.S. unchanged in July, while a measure of underlying inflation rose to its highest level in 5 months as tariffs pushed the price of imported goods higher while gas and grocery prices cooled. Consumer prices rose 2.7% in July from a year earlier, according to the Department of Labor, the same as the previous month and up from a post-pandemic low of 2.3% in April. Excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core prices rose 3.1%, up from 2.9% in June. Both figures are above the Federal Reserve's 2% target. The figure suggests that slowing rent increases and cheaper gas impacts from U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. Many businesses are also absorbing some of the cost of the duties. Tuesday's figures likely include some impact from the 10% universal tariff Trump imposed in April, as well as higher duties on countries such as China and Canada. And delivery drones are so fast that they can zip a pint of ice cream to a customer's driveway before it melts. The long-promised technology has been slow to take off in the United States, more than 6 years after the Federal Aviation Administration approved commercial home deliveries with drones. The service mostly has been confined to a few suburbs and rural areas, but that could soon change. The FAA promised a new rule last week that would make it easier for U.S. companies to fly drones outside of an operator's line of sight and therefore over longer distances. A handful of companies do that now, but they had to get certification as an air carrier to deliver packages. While the rule is intended to streamline the process, authorized retailers and drone companies that have tested fulfilling orders from the sky say they plan to make drone-based deliveries available to millions more U.S. households. And closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Monday, your market movers, Consolidated Water, closing at $5.94, up 7 cents. Emira Incorporated down 27 cents, closing at $11.68. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,093, down 0.20. That's your Market Watch.
We understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and finances to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future.
West Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there, the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive, Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's, Clarkson, Island Luck, Starbucks, and Lowe's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
With RBC,
your ideas become plans.
Your plans become memories.
This is retirement.
And your dreams become...
Whether it's planning that family vacation, owning your dream home, or retiring comfortably, your ideas are everything. And RBC is here to help make them happen. With RBC, your ideas happen here. With RBC,
your ideas become plans.
Your plans become memories.
This is retirement.
And your dreams become your life.
Whether it's planning that family vacation, owning your dream home, or retiring comfortably, your ideas are everything. And RBC is here to help make them happen. With RBC, your ideas happen here.
And we are back with Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean. And as we've been telling you, we are happy to have with us this morning FNM leader Michael Pintard. Good morning, sir. Great to see you again.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much.
All right, so we've been talking about this all morning, crime. What happened over the weekend especially, but almost every weekend we are seeing this gun violence and weekdays. In the Nassau Guardian today saying that you aren't convinced that what the government is doing is making a difference. Let's talk about that. Why are you saying that?
Again, I think there are several challenges that we're having, and one of those challenges is really the lack of proper coordination by government. The largest and most influential stakeholder in pulling together different groups that can have an impact on crime. So churches have a remarkable amount of programs that they've been running for years that have made a difference, right? It doesn't solve everything, but certainly the variety of youth-related programs, whether it's the marching bands, it's the outreach ministry, etc. Then you have non-governmental organizations, and there are many, including whether you're talking about Boys and Girls Scout Brigade, Pathfinders, etc. Then there are direct intervention programs that is by different groups, some of the fraternal organizations, some of the fraternities, sororities, etc. So there are many stakeholders. The private sector has adopted, in some cases, schools or segments of communities. So there are many Bahamians who are committed to helping to galvanize, to pull together our young people, provide them with economic opportunities, with cultural and sporting activities so that they are not available to be recruited by gangsters. Unfortunately, one of the challenges we have is with broad coordination in terms of what our role is as policymakers. Is one, of course, to put laws in place that send a clear message of what we'll tolerate, not tolerate, etc. But the second is policy positions. That is, how do we enlarge the efforts of all of those that are trying to reach our children? And the reason, as a government, we are coordinators, we're facilitators, right? We're not the end-all, the be-all, but we're facilitators. And this administration is not good at that kind of facilitation. Just before I continue, let me just say, the primary responsibility for our children are parents. We are responsible for socializing our children. The challenges we have with many of our children, it's at our feet. No government, no PLP or F&M government has created this. But a part of why we are elected is for law and order and the security of our people. So where one group fails or falls short, in this case, let's say the family, then we have a responsibility to intervene. That's what intervention is about. And this is not an administration that has been good at intervention. The numbers are staggering on their watch. And I would go further to say that this administration has not shown a zero tolerance for corruption, and those persons who in corruption, and we have laid that charge at their feet because we have looked at how they have addressed several of these matters. The Prime Minister comes across when he speaks about the indictment of Bahamians overseas as if he is a defense attorney. He talks about entrapment. When the country's reputation is at stake, when there are strong accusations against us facilitating the movement of drugs and weapons through our jurisdiction, a prime minister ought to send a clear message that there is a zero tolerance for anyone, especially gatekeepers, in terms of participating in things that are unethical and illegal. And that sets a tone in our community. We've had a heist of tremendous amount of money. I believe it's more than $1 million from one of our financial institutions. In the aftermath of that, explosive voice notes were released in the public domain. Once again, the government had an opportunity to demonstrate its zero tolerance for criminality at any level. And again, I believe the government has failed that test. There has been no sense of urgency around getting to the bottom of this matter, given the fact that no less than 7 persons have died related to it. Those involved, allegedly involved in the heist, those innocent bystanders who were murdered while someone was attempting to kill somebody that was apparently involved in the heist. And again, we've seen no urgency with respect to the government addressing these kinds of issues.
Well, it is a court matter now. I mean, do you think what could have been done? What do you think should have been done?
Again, you have 7 deaths related to one matter. I would reverse the question and ask, what extraordinary seen or heard from a government? So certainly had I been in the chair when this occurred, one of the things that's required is that you collect all of the footage, you review all of the footage, you update the public in terms of what the shakeup is in the Royal Bahamas police force around the issue, and quite frankly, the government has not been robust in that regard. Bear in mind the indictment. The second matter that I just mentioned with the explosive voice notes have led to a couple of high-profile resignations. And in fact, the government has not gone far enough in ensuring that the lack of confidence that emerged as a result of these kinds of matters that they have addressed. They have addressed the matter. We are concerned that at the ground level, farmers who ought to be creating separation between those that are involved in criminality and those that are in charge of enforcing the law or making the laws, that separation doesn't exist sufficiently. Let me give you a concrete example. One is commissioners of police. 2 commissioners of police have shown us the amount of drug interdictions in the Bahamas, the amount of weapons that have been collected, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the questions that we have raised as leaders of the Free National Movement with the police is this. You have these statistics that you're releasing about how well you're doing in policing. However, these are young men and women who are being interdicted in the over-the-hill communities or throughout the Bahamas. However, persons who they are linked to are persons who are signing contracts, major multi-million-dollar contracts with government. So in other words, you pick up a young man from the community I grew up in, Elder, and however, his boss is sitting at a table signing multi-million-dollar contracts with ministers, with persons who are known to the police or are persons of interest in other matters, locally or internationally, are signing major contracts with the government. And we are pretending as a society that this is not a real thing, when we are aware that they are persons of interest to the police, and they are in fact being given economic opportunities while the foot soldiers in those criminal enterprises are being locked up in the country. So, Dwight, I came to have a real conversation about if we are interested in creating a culture where those of us that are policymakers, that are gatekeepers, are going to be seen as setting a different tone and direction. We cannot be doing things where the public is out there saying, "This guy joking, this young fella." These young fellas who get picked up, you know who they work for, you know that one work for, but yet those others, there are some people who seem to be too big to fail, too big to be interdicted, too big to be denied economic opportunities that citizens who are playing by the rules do not have access to.
I want to go back to the coordination that you mentioned. The question, 1 second. So, coordination. Have we ever had an administration that was good at this, which you were talking about?
I think some have been better than others, but no, we have a lot of work to do. I mean, I don't think while the figures related to violent crimes in general, murders in particular, may have been better. Let's say under Marvin Dames have done a better job than Wayne Monroe. Let's just be clear about that. But while the figures have been better, that should give none of us pause or cause to pat ourselves on the back. It's too small of a country for us to have the kind of carnage, not just homicides, but we're talking about sexual violence against girls and women, and now increasingly boys and to some extent men. And so we have a lot of work to do in this regard, but people must be able to sense and see that we are prepared to do things differently. Why not convene our meetings with the cross-section of influential men and women who run the streets with a view of interrupting the violence that exists between the organizations that they are part of? That doesn't prevent you from crushing those criminal organizations or gangs that are out there who are unwilling to engage on any level with leadership, whether it's in law enforcement, in government or churches, because there will be some who will come to meetings who will say that, listen, we have a practical problem. We try to make peace with these fellas. They on our run, so we deal with them. So,
could you, as leader of the opposition, could you not organize this?
We have in fact, I'll give you a practical example. First of all, 21 of our associations developed anti-crime initiatives, whether it was a public service announcement, a mentoring program, walkabouts. You would recall at least 5 to 7 communities we went through in the Each One, Reach One program, and not with political colors, but speaking directly to young men and women in the community and those who influence them. And so we have engaged directly. I myself, I grew up in Yellow Elder. We had a series of homicides in Yellow Elder. And as residents have said to me, in one of those conflicts, there have been at least 9 persons murdered from one initial incident that went back and forth. I went and spoke to both sides of that particular conflict. Families that had lost multiple relatives in that conflict and another relative. So I think we have demonstrated a willingness, not always in front of the camera, but I've been involved in those discussions. I've visited many families of persons who have in fact been murdered. And where possible, I've spoken to persons who can make a difference with recommendations to do. So we are engaged. But I believe that we have a responsibility as policymakers. Our responsibility is secondary to what parents must do to take care of their household, what young people must do to manage their life better. Even though those are the main ones, we still have a responsibility. Additional practical example, and I didn't want to be vague today. I wanted to be very direct on, because we're talking about, I'm here as a policymaker, also as a father, but as a policymaker, if I'm running an organization in government, and there are groups of young men who I am giving contracts to. Let's be hypothetical. Let's say I'm giving contracts to young men, and those young men are in conflict with each other to the extent where they're sending out voice notes about putting bans on somebody, meaning putting money on the road to send you a message one way or another. Wow. If that is happening, what is my responsibility if I run the Ministry of Works or any ministry, and I hear that this is happening? My role is to first call in all of those individuals, or to certainly draw to the attention of authorities that these are things that I'm happening, and I want to get to the bottom of this. First of all, is it factual or is it a rumor? And in the event that it is factual, first of all, threats of death is criminal, so that has to be dealt with by the law.
And you're saying this type of stuff is happening,
and so I'm saying, to what extent are we looking at how we are using public funds, and our public funds empowering people to again send threats or finance activities that are inappropriate? So I'm not interested in seeing a politician. All of us, I don't doubt that FNMs and PLPs in the House feel the pain of the carnage that's happening on our streets and our home. I believe that there are many members of all political parties covered when they hurt and when they die. However, how we respond to these circumstances is what determines whether we have real commitment. And if persons are working for the agency that I run, and I'm aware that they are using resources to threaten, to buy a gun, rent a gun, then I'm terminating contracts. And I'm saying I want every young man and woman to have second chances. I believe that you could make mistakes early and you could redeem yourself. However, if you are demonstrating that you are not prepared to behave differently, to be different, then I have a responsibility. So don't show up on the crime scene after up to the people's house, giving the impression that you feel their pain when I'm not convinced that there's been any attempt at intervention.
And again, you are saying that this is happening.
Yes, it has happened.
Wow. Oh boy. Okay. DeQuesta, you were going to add something.
Yeah, so I have to, Mr. Pintard. The first, going back to your initial, one of your statements previously about I don't remember how you put it, but essentially that the low-lying criminals report the bosses. That's what I took from it, that, they go back to their people. So my question is, are we suggesting that the real criminals are not who we can see, and that there are people behind the scenes that are giving orders for the chaos that we now see in our country?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I am saying emphatically that there are persons who are persons of interest to the police, known by the police and known by policymakers, and nevertheless they are the recipients of lucrative contracts. That's the point that I'm making, and this is not a new point that has been made by me. So I'm not saying anything that's novel. This is a fact, and again, at the end of the day, I think everybody deserves a second chance, and I'm prepared to work with persons who are running the street, but with a view of them changing their lives. In other words, here's a guy, we know him to be involved in criminal activity. I believe that, yes, you ought to engage in conversations. If you're unable to lock him down, one of the things you are able to do, and I'm saying this having lived over the hill the majority of my life, I'm saying you are selling a product that's sowing death and putting you at risk. There are other ways in which you are able to support your family with less risk to you and to your children. We are minded we are minded to organize, or we have organized initiatives where people who are engaged in criminal lifestyles can transition into legitimate occupations that do not harm our community and reduce the risk to them, to those participants in criminal activity themselves. I think that's a legitimate course of action for any government or someone who have had problems in the past that they have decided that they're going to transition, but a guy is not likely to bury his tool, and his tool may be his gun, if there are no other tools available for him to pick up and find occupation. So these are the kinds of things we should be engaged in. But what we should not do, as I believe some politicians have done, is to engage with them and don't attempt to participate in the reformation of their lives. Do not attempt to get them to disarm those people who are loyal to them, as long as those gangsters are able to bring 50 or 100 voters' card. And that is of concern.
Okay, so here's my second question. So we witnessed a league of sorts between the two major political parties, the PLP and the FNM. By example, we see the undercurrents, we see the battles, we see, I mean, it's just evidence that this is like a war, right? Where's the evidence of both parties working together to address this crime? Where are the programs where you're showing a unified front as leading political parties in the Bahamas coming together, working together, demonstrating that there are other ways to resolve conflict, and working with young people as a can witness and see that this is not a PLP problem, this is not an FNM problem, this is a country problem.
There is insufficient evidence of it. However, there are examples. We work together on legislation, and we sign off on legislation that we believe have the ability to improve the state of law enforcement and the administration of justice in the country, and we will continue to do so. One of the difficulties we have with this administration is that any criticism of a piece of legislation that we intend to vote along with them on, they don't accept. They would accuse us of all manner of things because we don't simply come in the house, mamsy-pamsy, and sign off on a piece of legislation that they have brought. We point out some of the pitfalls of the legislation, even though we're voting for it. We point out how it could be improved. We pointed out on the compendium of legislation that dealt with the strengthening our ability to fight gangs and dismantle them. We said we are willing to work with you, go to every school to educate parents and students about it. I do not believe the average child is aware of the extremely harsh penalties of being associated with a gang. And I don't believe parents fully understand that your child, based on the colors that they wear, the symbols or signs that they put on their clothing or flash with their hands, could cause you to be incarcerated because you are seen to be aiding and abetting or harboring someone who's involved in a gang. So we have offered to help. We've put in writing multiple recommendations to this administration. Let's just accept that the reality is that this government has gone to its corner, and it is prepared to do politics. So even when we have made constructive recommendations with language, it has not made a difference in terms of the Davis-Cooper administration embracing us as partners. I believe that Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright, who represents St. Barnabas, has something to offer on this issue. Michael Pintard, who represents Marco City, who lived over the hill the majority, who was suspended twice from high school for fighting and expelled on the third time, and only readmitted the following year on the good graces of administrators who loved my mother and thought there was some hope for me. So I've been going down a path that has, I believe, made me in some ways someone who has something to say about how you can help people change their lives. I've run community programs where people who have been on the wrong side of the law have contributed to those programs, putting bathrooms on houses of people who lack water and light infrastructure, and other communities. So we have something to offer, and it isn't about politics. It's about trying to save the next generation, and also even just to protect our own family. Because if we don't reach these young people with opportunities so that they could thrive, they're going to reach us later probably with a knife or a bullet.
I want to go back to something you said earlier. You went to a home where there was conflict, families with conflict with each other.
In a community. It was not a single home. It was in a community.
We talk about this all the time, that there's clear patterns with many families here where the granddad was shot and killed, father dead, brother, all the siblings dead, cousins, yet the young people are just left on their own. And it is obvious that they'll likely end up like their relatives, where we just leave them out there basically to die. What are we doing about that when we see the clear pattern that somebody's likely going to end up in problems?
There has to be intervention. And I'm saying the church community have numerous programs that have some measure of success. No one thing is going to solve it all. Just like there are families who have 6 children, 5 of them are exceptional and 1 has gone the wrong path. When I was doing nonsense in my own life, that was not a reflection on my mother. That was a reflection on my unwillingness to take heed to the messages I heard in Josie Church or in Southland, or my mother's advice and good example. So when people have gone wrong, what you need is for groups to intervene. Rather than continuing to tout one band by, let's say, an urban renewal, which we support, and I've never not funded. What we should do is empower more organizations that have given birth to many bands, right? So this government has a problem with prioritizing how it spends its money. Rather than celebrate and spend an inordinate amount of money for your own internal efforts, empower those agencies that are more equipped to do what you have not been able to do. And that's just one example. Similarly, we have non-government that are dealing with issues of hunger, of violence interruption, of anti-drug use initiatives, etc. Why not empower them? Why not provide them with the additional resources that they can reach far more people than any particular government department? That's where this government is failing to prioritize spending and resources to empower groups that are far more effective than those of us who are in the public service. I share one note on the intervention I mentioned, and that particular one is in the community of Yellow Elder. There are more people equipped and qualified on the ground to address these issues than a lot of us who are appointed or elected. That's why we have to work. Why we ought to be, as politicians, facilitators, not the people who feel like we have to conceive the idea, give birth to the idea, manage the idea, then regulate the idea. No, a part of what we're to move obstacles out of people's way who are getting on with the business of changing the community, advise them or provide resources in order for them to do it at a larger scale than they are doing. And what I'm saying is that kind of clear thinking and direction I do not see in this administration. And if you're a minister of national security, if you're a prime minister, you ought not be sounding like you are a defense attorney. You ought to be sounding as if you're fighting for the people and not fighting for those who have decided to live on the wrong side of the law. All
right, so a lot of people have been saying in our discussions over the past few days that at the root of what we've been seeing is illegal immigration. That this is a major contributor to the problems that we are seeing with crime, especially in this mass shooting on Saturday. Let's talk about that and what we're going to do about whether this is the truth or the perception that this is what's really happening here, that these aren't necessarily Bahamians who are responsible for what we're seeing.
Listen, criminality that exists in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has to be owned by all of us. Bahamians of Bahamian descent, who the organic Bahamian is one of the terms that's being thrown out, as well as Bahamians who are of Haitian, Jamaican descent. The reality is that we, as a society, are grooming the children that we have. They're here in this country. And so while when you look at the surnames in terms of persons who are victims or perpetrators, the reality is some of French background and some are of. We have a shared problem. And so when we're coming up with solutions, we have to be sober and clear-minded about it. We have to acknowledge those who may feel stateless, classless, or a level of anger it creates, the shame that they carry, and the way in which people react when they are shamed, when they feel that they don't have a stake in the society. we have to address that. So to the extent that the migrant community's offspring are contributing, we have to then have intervention programs that deal with that issue as we stem the flow of new migrants. No one should be able to come in illegally and enjoy the full benefits of the society. But the carnage that we have in our streets and home, that exists right now. So we have a responsibility to come up with clear solutions that deal with all of society and not presume that one segment alone is responsible, because that's as much as people may wish to hear that, that's not the facts, because there are persons who've been a role or any name for multiple generations and have found themselves in problems. We have to save all of our children. And that's before us.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned something just now that people who come here illegally should not be able to benefit from everything happening in the country. Are you? And we keep asking folks about this. Is it time for us to address Article 7 in the Constitution, where if you come here illegally, there's to immigration, to citizenship for you?
Yes, we've been clear on that. We've said in our last press conference, if you come to the Bahamas illegally, there's no path for you to citizenship. That if you do not send that message, people who are who are thinking about coming to the Bahamas.
What does that mean to you? I mean, does that mean that we should have a referendum, that we need to change it? What does that mean?
Again,
because you do have a path now that Article 7 enshrines it in the Constitution. Should that be changed? That if you come here illegally, there is no path to citizenship.
We are prepared. Again, once we have taken the required advice on how that law will be, we will evaluate the law and how it needs to be tweaked. We're prepared to do so. I'm not convinced.
It'll likely require a referendum.
Again, Bahamian governments appear to be afraid of referendum.
Would you be afraid?
I would not be afraid to hold a referendum. But I'm saying something. I'm saying something different. I'm saying something differently. I'm saying that we need to send a message to the international community that persons who are coming to the Bahamas, there is no pathway for you for citizenship.
But how would you send that message? Because that is not the truth.
What I'm saying is we will, under the policies that I would implement, whatever is required, if the referendum is the only pathway to address that particular issue, the policies I would put in place would hinder that ship ever making it to shore. Because if it is unclear that we are prepared to stand firm to prevent that from happening, I believe the floodgates remain open. But there are some things we should do.
So you would have a referendum.
I would be, if that is the only pathway. Yes, I would be prepared to hold a referendum on.
We're going to hold you to that.
On that, yeah, you can hold me to it. But I'm saying
there is no other way.
I'm saying to you that it is the wrong message to give the impression that people can benefit from all the rights.
But we've been doing that from 1973.
And we ought to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple things that I believe we ought to be doing right now. We just discussed the biometrics bill. If this government is serious about biometrics all around, and by the way, we conceived the bill and we supported it, contrary to what they're saying, why is it that the government would not use biometrics at the airport, at the harbor? Persons who are coming to the country with a visa, so that you are able to, again, record the entry and see whether or not they came with the right documents, and then determine if they left on the date that they were supposed to leave. You could use biometrics for that. Certainly you could, there could be something in the system that triggers an alert when that time is up, and you could flag that application, determine whether that person is at the address. So we're not using the technology required to do a number of the things that we have the capability of doing. Mm-hmm. I shared, and I think I was asked publicly by the media, where is the evidence on a related call several months ago when we raised the issue calling for Keith Bell's resignation, and we still believe, certainly we were responsible in part for him being moved from where he was, but we believed that under this administration, we saw documents which in a previous press conference and all of the media houses were there, we said, in fact, we want people's name, etc. We showed documents where someone was caught who was in the country illegally, was repatriated, was put on the stop list, made it back in the country, and had a hearing on their matter to receive a work. I mean, we had the document with some names redacted, and so on. Also, secondly, there was a case where there was a person who was in the detention center should not have had the ability to process or have their applications processed, since they themselves could not participate in the matter, and the application was processed. How is it that the application is processed? They are already being detained. So these are practical issues, and so we have many persons of Haitian descent who are reaching out to us to say, listen, we stand for protecting the sovereignty of the Bahamas and behaving vessels, and in order to stay illegally or use us as a hub to then go to the U.S. So we don't want you to be misguided and lump us into the same category of those who have come late, even though we know others who have been here legitimate reason to have status, and they can be processed, but people are arriving very recently and they are being processed. So I'm just saying, as emotive as this issue is, we have to be clear-minded. There are persons who've been here for ages who are entitled to status, and their matters were not being addressed. And there are persons who have come recently under questionable circumstances, and their matters are being addressed. This is why we call for a select committee on immigration, because we want whistleblowers. What has happened that you are aware of in the system that is betraying the process? And I don't believe that any government without the help of civil society is going to get to the bottom of this. We need to involve other stakeholders on immigration does that. And in the first 30 days of being elected as prime minister, I will put in place a select committee that also has in it provisions for protection for people who are in immigration and know some of the things that are going on and are prepared to talk about the consultants who can get work permits before they find the potential workers. So there's a level of corruption in the system that we are not prepared to address, and we should address it soberly and humanely.
Yeah. All right, so we only have about 5 minutes left. I want to talk about Junkanoo, what's going on right now, the Junkanoo Authority. Your take on this, you were Minister of Youth, Sports, and Culture. What do you make of the authority bill and this process right now?
When I was minister with responsibility for culture, one of the things was a comprehensive Junkanoo conclave. The Junkanoo conclave addressed the issue of a Junkanoo festival, having multiple days of a wide range of activities, whether it's drumming competition, dance competition. It almost, in a sense, was fashioned after the model we see and is quite popular in Carnival. We believe Junkanoo is too comprehensive to be reduced to just a rush on Bay Street. So we addressed that issue, looked at what a calendar would look like, with even a Junkanoo art exhibition at the Central Bank or at one of the galleries or open spaces. So that was one of the things we had accomplished. I was there, by the way. The second thing that we talked about is what would be the appropriate venue for Junkanoo. Do we still remain attached to Bay Street, or do we conceptualize the idea of maybe a multi-purpose Junkanoo or festival site that is dominated by Junkanoo, our primary culture, and the way we spend our money should reflect that. We also talked about an authority of sorts, a commission, where there is a body that is quasi-government, and that particular body allows Junkanooers to be front and center of controlling, in conjunction with private sector, civil society, and government, the onward development of government, of Junkanoo. And so again, these were matters that we had a discussion with. What we did in advance of any public statement was to meet with the Junkanooers. This government found foot in that. It has had insufficient discussions on the front of some of the public pronouncements that they have made, and therefore they run into a problem with persons who have given their entire life craft. And so our position is any organization that is established it ought to have Junkanoo front and center. You ought to limit the ability of a minister, and this is what would be different, certainly under my administration. You would limit the ability of the minister to do the substantive appointments. In other words, there ought to be positions on any Junkanoo, whether you call it an authority, an association, a commission. The government should have limited ability in appointees. The Junkanoo community is brilliant enough, diverse enough, in those appointments, so that the government has no veto power in this regard. The Junkanooers have a veto power with a formula that does not bias the decision making for any one or two groups. All groups have a say in how the corporate soul have the ability to borrow money, to buy land, to sell land, to generate revenue, to solicit for an endowment, that is to establish an endowment to solicit funds to put in it to develop the craft. But in my view, to give greater space and latitude to the cultural community to dominate the decision making of any governing body.
So do you have any specific issues with the bill, the current bill?
The influence of the minister. Let me give you a concrete example of what is different in how we will approach the Free National Movement will approach boards going forward. Far too many boards still leave itself open to ministers of the government overreaching or overly influencing the course of those boards. Already we have, as a part of the provision in a number of our boards or commissions or authorities, in law, we have certain stakeholders who have the ability to send a representative. That is not the novel part. What we are saying is we wish to go further than we've gone in a number of the boards by increasing the number of independent participants, and where their recommendation to serve does not emanate from the government. It doesn't emanate from a minister. It emanates from the sector organizations or civil society. Or what that does is it limits the political influence on the boards, on commissions and authorities that we have.
All right. So really quickly, because I got to get to this because time is going. We heard this yesterday from former F&M Vice Chair Richard Johnson. Had some serious things to say.
I have zero interest or comment. Let's move on to something that matters to the Bahamian people. I'm here to fight.
But
I'm here
some
to.
people are very concerned about what he has to say.
Go ahead.
Can we play it and then get you to say something at least? Let's take a listen to this.
That's the Holy Spirit indicating. So let's move on.
Mr. Producer,
Holy Spirit. Clearly, even your equipment don't will play it. Let's move on.
Oh my goodness!
People are trying to pay rent, keep their homes for mortgage payments, decide on whether they're paying light bill, etc. We have real issues that we ought.
But people of them is united enough that they could do the things that you're talking about.
We have had three conventions, two of which decided on leadership.
All right, we got it now. Let's just.
But you made the point. Let me answer it rather than waste time with him. And so the F&M supporters, the council, the executive, have made a decision on the leadership. There are some who do not wish to support the leader, the deputy leader, the chairman, and the direction that we're going in. While we value them as members who have contributed in the past, they ought to, as we have done when we did not lead, support the leadership and the team and the direction. They are of a mind to go in a different direction with groups that have gotten a cut-up in the internal elections and fail to fall in line and to be governed fairly. And so we are moving ahead. We believe that when the election is called, either the end of this year or early next, that we will have a full slate of 39 attractive candidates. We'll have a platform that we believe energizes this public and speaks to the concerns of the Bahamian people, and they'll be united under a leadership that is going in a different direction than some other people wish to go in.
All right, well, let's just play it for those who don't know what we're talking about. Let's go.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I support the Progressive Liberal Party and the Prime Minister of the Bahamas in the second term for what the leadership of the FNM has done to me. I will never, ever support the FNM under this leadership. And I would advise the public to do so, because if Dr. Minnis could get treated bad, if Renwick Wells could get treated bad, if Iram Lewis could get treated bad, if Richard Johnson could get treated bad, if Devin T. Bannister could get treated bad and ostracized by the FNM, who are members or former members of the FNM, who fought for the FNM, if we could be discarded, what do you think will happen to you? And so, of course not. At the end of the day, I'm a Bahamian citizen. I'm a voter. I have influence. I have family members. I have brothers and sisters. And so I'm prepared to support the Prime Minister. Me and the Prime Minister has sit down, we've talked, we've forgiven each other. It's time for war, political war. We're in battle mode right now. Dr. Minnis will have a very challenge on his hand as the incumbent of Galani. I believe he will be successful. I support him 1,000%. He's my man of business in Galani. However, I support the Progressive Liberal Party as the government.
All right, Richard Johnson there. Sounds a little personal, but I guess you've said all you.
I believe attorney says question, ask, and answer.
Okay. All right, when are you going to introduce the remaining slate of your candidates?
Soon, directly.
Okay, all right. I wish we had more time, but I'm sure we can have you back soon. Michael Pintar, thank you so much.
I just want to say to the Bahamian people, we love you and we work for you. We are not confused about who our boss is. Dedicate our time, efforts, and resources to serving your interests. And I want to say once again to the people of Marco City, love you like cooked food.
All right. The question, you were saying something really quickly. 10 seconds.
No, I was saying, we need to bring him back
Yes.
for more than an hour. It's definitely not sufficient.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And we've been promising a full Grand Bahama discussion with you. We'll do that.
We look forward to that.
Yeah.
We'll be in Fox Hill today and again this evening.
Okay.
We were in Yamacraw yesterday, at least 100 of us, and then, of course, supporting Elsewhere Johnson, and we'll be in St. Anne's tomorrow. So, again, we're on the ground, hearing, feeling our people, and responding to their needs. We're prepared to fight for you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. DeQuesta, thank you again. Congratulations to you. And we'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan. Have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
With RBC,
Your ideas become plans.
Your plans become memories.
This is retirement.
And your dreams become your life.
whether it's planning that family vacation, owning your dream home, or retiring comfortably, your ideas are everything. And RBC is here to help make them happen. With RBC, your ideas happen here.
You work hard for your money, so let your money work hard for you. With as little as $1,000 to start, you can watch your money grow by investing in CFAL's Bahamian dollar and US dollar mutual funds, each tailored to match your unique investment profile. Our expert advisors are dedicated to crafting personalized investments to achieve your financial goals. Don't miss out on the chance to earn higher returns on your hard-earned money. Join the thousands of investors who trust CFAL and start your journey toward financial freedom today. Visit us at cfal.com to learn more about us and let us help you build wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.